Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics. Christ is in our midst.
On July 26, we commemorate St. Paraskevi, the righteous martyr of Rome, the holy higher martyrs Hieronymus, Hermippus, and Hermocrates, St. Prisca, the righteous martyr, St. Moses the Hungarian, and St. Jacob Netzevdov, the enlightener of Alaska.
Regarding St. Hermolaus the holy martyr and his companions, St. Hermolaus and those with him were priests of the church in Nicomedia, living in hiding after the Emperor Maximian had burnt to death the 20,000 martyrs of Nicomedia, which we commemorate on December 28. It was Hermolaus who converted St. Panteleimon to Christ, whom we celebrate tomorrow. When St. Panteleimon was seized as a Christian and was asked by Maximian who it was that had turned him from the idols, the saint, enlightened by God that the time of his teacher's martyrdom was also at hand, revealed to Maximian that it was Hermolaus the priest. St. Hermolaus would take him with Saints Hermippus and Hermocrates, and when they had confessed Christ to be the only true God, they were beheaded in the year 305. St. Hermolaus is one of the holy and mercenaries, like his disciple, St. Panteleimon. Your martyrs, O Lord, in their courageous contest for you received as the prize the crown of incorruption and life from you, our mortal God. For since they possessed your strength, they cast down the tyrants and wholly destroyed the demon's strength as presumption. O Christ God, by their prayers, save our souls, since you are merciful. O wise Hermolaus, with the God-bearing Hermippus and august Hermocrates, as sacred priests of the Most High, you who offered the unbloody sacrifice, rightly were yourselves stained with your own blood as sacrifices offered up to Christ the one God. And now with boldness you pray that all may be saved. Regarding St. Paraskevi, the righteous martyr of Rome, the Holy Virgin Martyr Paraskevi of Rome was the only daughter of Christian parents Agathon and Politia, and from her early years she dedicated herself to God, spent much of her lifetime in prayer and the study of Holy Scriptures. It should be noted that her name, Paraskevi, literally means the day of preparation, and she was named this because she was born on a Friday, which is Paraskevi. She spent much of her time in prayer and the study of Holy Scriptures. After the death of her parents, St. Paraskevi distributed all of her inheritance to the poor and consecrated her virginity to Christ. Emulating the holy apostles, she began to preach to the pagans about Christ, converting many to Christianity. She was arrested during the reign of Antonius Pius because she refused to worship the idols. She was brought to trial and fearlessly confessed herself a Christian. Neither enticements of honors and material possessions, nor threats of torture and death shook the firmness of the saint, nor turned her from Christ. She was given order to beastly tortures. They put a red-hot helmet on her head and threw her in a cauldron filled with boiling oil and pitch. By the power of God, the holy martyr remained unharmed. When the emperor peered into the cauldron, St. Paraskevi threw a drop of the hot liquid in his face, and he was burned. The emperor began to ask her for help, and the holy martyr healed him. After this, the emperor set her free. According to some tellings of this miracle, when she was in the cauldron unharmed, the emperor, Antonius Pius, was going to have his men beaten for not putting the cauldron to a temperature that would burn the saint. And she said, "Don't hurt your men. There's nothing wrong with the cauldron." And he said, "Prove it to me." And she threw the goblet at him. After which she took water from a basin that was nearby and used it to wash his eyes. This is one of the reasons why St. Paraskevi is the patron saint of eye illnesses and why you'll often see her holding a little plate with eyes on it. And according to tradition, Antonius Pius, not only did he set her free, but he ceased persecution of the Christians so long as he was alive. Traveling from one place to another to preach the gospel, St. Paraskevi arrived in a city where the governor was named Asclepius. Here again they tried the saint and sentenced her to death. They took her to an immense serpent living in a cave, so that it would devour her. But St. Paraskevi made the sign of the cross over the snake, and it died. Asclepius and the citizens witnessed this miracle and believed in Christ. She was set free and continued her preaching. In a city where the governor was a certain Tarasius, St. Paraskevi endured fierce tortures and was beheaded in the year 140. Many miracles took place at the saint's tomb. The blind received sight, the lame walked, and barren women gave birth to children. It is not only in the past that the saint performed her miracles, but even today she helps those who call on her in faith. Appropriate to your calling, O champion Paraskevi, you worshipped with the readiness your name bears. For an abode you obtained faith, which is your namesake, wherefore you pour forth healing and intercede for our souls. As we said before, Paraskevi literally means preparation, the day of preparation. and so we follow her example and prepare our souls that we may receive Christ our God. The readings are according to St. Paraskevi, the righteous martyr of Rome, whom we celebrate. From St. Paul's letter to the Galatians, Brethren, before faith came, we were confined under the law, kept under restraint, until faith should be revealed, so that the law was our custodian until Christ came, that we might be justified by faith. But now that faith has come, we are no longer under custodian, for in Christ Jesus you are all sons of God through faith. For as many of you were baptized in Christ have put on Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. And if you're Christ's, then you're in Abraham's offspring, heirs according to promise. I mean that the heir, as long as he is a child, is no better than a slave, though he is the owner of all the estate, but he is under guardians and trustees until the day set by the Father. So with us, when we were children, we were slaves to the elemental spirits of the universe. These are the things that St. Paraskevi preached against. But when the time had fully come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. The Gospel according to St. Mark. At that time a great crowd followed Jesus and thronged about him. And there was a woman who had a flow of blood for 12 years, and who had suffered much under many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. She had heard the reports about Jesus, and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. She said, "If I touch even his garment, I shall be made well." And immediately the hemorrhage ceased, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. And Jesus, perceiving in himself that power had gone forth from him, immediately turned about in the crowd and said, "Who touched my garments?" And his disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing around you, and yet you say, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had been done to her, came in fear and trembling and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace, be healed of your disease." Christ showing us that it is her faith that healed her, even more than touching his garment, her faith in him. And this is an allegory for our faith that is seen in St. Paraskevi, who we commemorate today. For all the Paraskevas and all the Paraskevis who celebrate today, Fronia Polan. I hope that you've enjoyed today's spiritual calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.